don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't.
Thank you once again, sir. Thank you, Mr. Babishali. Religion. Later, the President, Global Pulses Federation, Ms. Cindy Brown, and Director, IDGA, Mr. Praveen Lowe. That's the way the world works. And now you can give them a big round of applause. I'd like to request you please stay up. As the other members of the organizing committee, please step up on stage. Director, Mr. Praveen Lowe. We have Joint Honorary Secretary, Mr. Bhanushali. And if any other office bearers of IPGA are in the audience, photograph is going to happen, so I can understand they're probably not in the hall at this moment. But this is the organizing committee for this year's conclave, so big round of applause. Thank you very much.
Very warm welcome to all of you, and thanks for responding to our invitation and taking the trouble to travel all the way to Ambi Valley, and hope your stay is comfortable and enjoy the few days that you are here. I will also introduce you to the members of the dais, starting from my left. We have Mr. Sunil Singh, who is the Regional Managing Director of NAPED. Next to him is Mr. Pahugna, the former Secretary of Agriculture and also the former Chairman of FSSAI. Cindy Brown, you all must have already met. She is a farmer, she's a producer, she's a processor and a pulses trader, but most importantly, she's the president of the Global Pulses Confederation. Minister Merritt, Minister of Agriculture from Saskatchewan. To my right is Chandrasekhar, who all of you do know, and the president of the India Pulses and Grain Association, Mr. Jeetu Bera. So welcome again, and I will throw the floor open for any questions.
Would you like them to say a couple of lines before we throw it open?
No. Okay, so
Something was spoken last evening, if they were there or not.
I'm not sure whether all of you were present last evening, but I just wanted to make a few comments on IPGA. So this is our fifth edition of the IPGA. The first one was in 2012, which was a resounding success. We had a complete full house, and that's when we decided that we will have a biannual meet. We had one in 2014, I think it was in Goa, followed by Jaipur, then Delhi, and now here in Ambi Valley. IPGA since then has gone a long way. We have been associated with the trade, with the processors. But most importantly, we went into a project in rural India. So we have a drought-prone area in Maharashtra, and in two particular districts of Bhokardan and Pulambari, we went through a we started a water rejuvenation project. So our team members went there, we saw the dry area, we saw the dry riverbeds, and we did 25 kilometers of digging of trenches. Our team members were personally there. Pradeep headed this whole effort. We had support of the local government machinery, and having dug these 25 kilometers of trenches, after one monsoon, we were able to rejuvenate almost 150 villages in that catchment area. And if I'm not wrong, we created a groundwater level, which really obviously went up, and we created a groundwater storage of we assume almost 4 million liters. So this entire region, which probably had 100,000 people living or in transit, had water for their personal use, and also what we saw in the following year was a huge bumper harvest of crops, and that continued because these trenches are still there, and that water rejuvenation, and the water table in the entire region has come up. We are now planning to tie up with certain organizations like ICRISAT, and I intend to propose to my colleague on the dais, Mr. Singh, to tie up with NAPED also to conduct pilot farms on this land. And we have identified certain farmers, because obviously we do not want to take a large area and end up with a result which is not as satisfactory. So we are going to take pilot farms where we are trying to get in as much of inputs as we can, and also certain market information whereby we will be able to forecast or predict prices during the harvest for that particular crop, select those pulses, and have encourage the farmers to sow them, and then try to create the same chain by getting the processors involved with the buyback agreement. So this is a tall order. It's a lot of work to do, but I can tell you that we are certainly on our way of doing it. We have the support of the Honorable Minister Rao Saheb Danve, because this forms part of his constituency, and he has given us that support, and hopefully he'll talk about it when he's here with us this afternoon. Thank you, and the floor is open now.
Can I just take the mic? I can go.
May I just respond to your suggestion?
Yes, you have a mic?
What I would request you, it's a very good initiative of having a cluster farming where you are encouraging the farmers to grow pulses. As I mentioned in my address, you have a private stockist procurement scheme. I would like that to be encouraged first. If not, NAPED is there to provide you the safety net of MSP, ensuring MSP to the farmers for to produce that they have grown of effective quality. But just because as you are taking the initiative of production, so I would request you to try the one component of PMRSA, that is private procurement stockist scheme. If it works, fine. If not, then I'm there.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm Lakshmi from PTI. My question is to Agriculture Minister, and I want to know how much pulses you export to India, and with so many curbs restriction imposed right now, what is the prospect you have?
Well, as I said in my opening comments, we are probably, for the country of Canada, our province is probably, it does lead in just about every pulse sector and just about every grain sector, just because of our large land mass. And just to give you, the reporters, a geographical aspect or a look at that, over 40% of all the arable land in Canada is housed in the province of Saskatchewan. So it's massive. We seed, on average, well over 30 million acres, between 30 and 35 million acres every year seeded to obviously a great array of different crops. And pulses are a big part of that, peas and lentils as well. And this year, I think both peas and lentils will be well over 2 million metric tons on both peas and lentils. We are obviously looking for opportunities to enhance our trading relationships around the world. India has been a big player in that. Obviously, there's been some challenges lately with some import tariffs and things like that. So it is challenging, but we are seeing around the world a huge increase in pulse interest as a result of protein. And as I said in my remarks to the delegates, we are seeing a great influx of not just national companies in Canada, but global companies looking to come to Canada and really investing in protein extraction. And they're doing that, and that's where we see a huge number of our pulse crops are going to be consumed that way in the value-added process. You know, I'll give you an example of what we do in the government side to enhance that. We invest significantly in research through the Ministry of Agriculture in partnership with the federal government to the University of Saskatchewan in the agriculture faculty. One of the projects we approved last year was a team of professors feel very strongly that they're going to develop a yellow pea that will have protein greater than 25%, which is high. But that's the kind of projects we're doing. That's the kind of research that's going on. And I must say that we are attracting researchers from around the world as a result of that. How much we export? It'll be to India. Total exports was over 300 million to India. Yes.
And whether that quantity will be reduced because of the restriction?
Pardon me?
This year?
Well, it's obviously having an impact. It is, and I think you're seeing what is happening is the industry players in the province of Saskatchewan are looking at other opportunities in other parts of the world. As I said, China's yellow pea, just the yellow pea side, had gone up 40% just since 2017. So we're seeing that market happening also in other parts. So what is happening as a result, if companies are having issues of getting pulse crops in India, they're going to look for other opportunities to move the product, and that's what's happening.
But India being the largest consumer, do you see?
Yeah, well, yeah, I do see it, and that's why I said my remarks the way they are. As a farmer myself and grow pulses myself, that's the first thing we look at for is market trends and where things are going to go, because then I can make a decision within a few months of whether I'm going to seed pulses or not. And to give you an example, the pulse acres in the province of Saskatchewan are probably in that 5 to 6 million acre range. That's what we seed into the lentil and pea market. If you saw a 20% reduction in the acres, if you saw that, and which we could do just because of price fluctuation, that's a significant impact on the world market. When you estimate that Saskatchewan leads the world in exports of lentils and peas, it would have a huge impact on market prices if that were to happen. That's why we're saying, and that's why we're voicing our opinions on where we'd like to see consistency and transparency in market access. And I understand what countries do what they do, but from our perspective, it could have a huge detrimental impact down the road.
Yeah, like with India becoming like self-sufficient in future, do you see this will have impact on global prices? You may find different market, but what about the price?
I don't know if you're going to see, just because of the way I see the North American consumption going up on the pulse side itself, and when in the countries I've met with just in the past few days and talking to some leading companies. I mean, these are the big players in this part of the world. They see their numbers going up significantly on the consumption side. So I think the challenge is going to be growing it, and I can see us hitting those targets.
Mr. Minister, my question, I just wanted to know, it was 300 million tons of exports to India. So what is it now?
Pardon?
No, no, 300 million is the value.
Dollars, $300 million. Sorry.
Canadian dollars.
Yeah.
And what is it now before the tariff duties hit?
Oh, I don't know what the high was that we had hit before the tariff. It was before the tariff. What was it to India? Yeah. Yeah. 1.5 billion.
So it is almost half.
Well, almost a lot more than that, about 5 times higher.
This 300 million for entire Canada or for only one state? 300 million.
That was for Saskatchewan.
My question is directed to Ms. Vinnie Brown.
Good.
How does the world community view the trade barriers put up by India? I mean, there's a lot of restrictions in place. And is the association doing anything about it?
Well, I think globally we're seeing a lot more trade restrictions. We're very protectionistic in many countries around the world. We've seen more nationalism. We've seen more concerns over global trade. So it's not just India. I think our job at GPC is to help keep markets open, and when we find difficulties, we start to communicate to maintain discussions and look forward to being very clear and transparent. And so we have predictable trade and resources working with every country in the world.
Has this matter been, I understand in 2018 the matter was taken up in WTO also, right? About India's tariff on pulses. So where is the case now and how is the situation now?
I'm not as familiar with that as I might be. One of my colleagues that might have taken care of that isn't with us today. I'd have to pass that question on.
No, I wouldn't have. I wouldn't know where that's at.
WTO is a long process. It'll take time. It's still in process actually. Yeah.
So the Indian government is trying hard to become self-sufficient in pulses production. Last 3 years we have been self-sufficient. Next year also, if the monsoon blesses us well, which are the initial indications, then again we may produce more. Do you fear that losing this big market like India, if the government consistently, achieves in its target of becoming self-sufficient in production?
Do I feel it's going to impact our market? It will have an impact. I can't say it won't. And that's what we're doing, is trying to find those new markets, and we are finding them. When I said that we want to get to a point where we're going to start processing 50% of what we grow, that's the target we're really trying to achieve. Then obviously it's going to have an impact on exports around the world too, as we are a world leader in the pulse side as far as exports. So if we start value adding and processing there, it's obviously going to have an impact on the export side.
If IPGA precedent allows me, I want to issue a rejoinder to this.
Sure.
I think it is a myth to say that India is self-sufficient in pulses. The current low prices probably create a smug feeling amongst a lot of people that we are self-sufficient. Our current per capita availability of dal, which is fit for human consumption, is only 14 kilograms. Whereas nutrition is recommended at least 20 kilograms. We still have a long way to go before we can claim actual, real self-sufficiency. Therefore, we need to produce more, we need to consume more.
Ma'am, you wanted to add something to this information.
I did. I always come back to the point that where pulses fit in the whole global spectrum, and that's with sustainability in production. Our product uses less water to produce. We use less fertilizer inputs. It's a perfect model for smallholder farmers to bring more revenue back to their farms and their families. It works globally for individuals looking to add more protein non-meat protein, but more vegetable protein to their diets. And our opportunities today to grow the pulses market are huge. As we look at the new products that are coming online, the minister talked about many of them in his remarks earlier, and we see more production probably being a better thing. We see more opportunities for consumption as it grows in China, as it grows in Europe, as it grows in North America. So what we need to do is pay attention to the crop that is a fantastic crop for our environment and brings health benefits back to our people.
Ma'am, how much was global demand in 2019? Yeah. So how much was global demand in 2019 calendar year? And how much growth you are expecting in 2020?
You know, I don't have those figures directly, but we watch the trends, and if you watch the food trends globally, as we look at vegetable protein making a huge difference, and we see the demand for yellow peas and chickpeas and other products as well, lentils, growing just for processing. It's really amazing. And honestly, if I look at Canada and what they're doing to be creative and innovative on bringing that processing in, it's just amazing to see the opportunities that are coming because of it. The investment dollars are huge.
Question to Minister. Sir, are you requesting Indian government to lift the curbs on pulses imports?
I'm not requesting anything. I'm in here to advocate on the tariff and the impact it has to farmers of Saskatchewan, and that's what I'm here to do.
Indian government officials in doing India visit this week or next week? Are you planning to meet Indian government officials?
I'm sorry, I missed that.
When will India visit? Are you planning to meet Indian government officials?
No, I'm not aware of it. I'm sorry, I'm not getting.
Are you planning to meet anybody in the
Oh,
government of India?
I'm sorry. No, that's a federal issue. That's up to the federal government to take that up with India, not me as a minister for a province of Saskatchewan.
You mentioned that in the current year, pulses production is likely to go up. So can you provide last year's numbers and this year's numbers? How much are you expecting in production of pulses?
For us to process, you mean?
Yeah, production.
Oh, production?
Yeah.
Well,
we can give that to you separately.
yeah, we can get you those.
we-
We can get you those numbers. I think that's the best way to do it. We are obviously seeing growth happening.
Mr. Minister, I have a question. Post India's closure, post India's tariff regime, have you seen a change in cropping pattern or amongst your farmers? Are they growing for a separate type of pulses? You mentioned about yellow peas. So has there been a change amongst the Canadian farmers in this regard? Reduction in cropping?
Not really, and I think it's just because of market trends around the world we're seeing it. Obviously, the yellow pea is a favorite if you're doing protein extraction, and listening to the researchers at the U of S tell me that it's easier to extract the protein from a yellow pea than others. So that's but acre-wise, if I look back from 5 or 6 years, and even I don't think the percentage-wise is very too much on a lot of the pulses. We will see a glitch maybe between a red lentil and a green lentil from year to year, but it's so minimal that it's not really relevant.
Because we had interacted with some of the officials in the past who had said their farmers had grown pigeon pea looking to the Indian perspective, but after the tariffs came in, they were at a
Not in Canada. Green lentils, they
Yeah.
are a good substitute for pigeon peas.
Yeah, no.
So nothing like that has happened in the province.
No, we see new varieties coming in. Faba beans and things like that are starting to take off in the province. But the prominent ones in the lentil side is the red and the green, and then the pea is the yellow and green.
So, wanted to find out about the targets set by NAFED for procurement.
There are no targets set out for procurement, it all depends on the market forces. Yes, we keep a tentative schedule that this should be in the arrangement of the many bags, sellers, etc. But again, it's on the behavior of the market, we keep on preferring from the farmers.
Minister, you talked about increased processing, 50% of yearly process. So how much is it now? What is the current?
Yeah, right now it's around 10%. Yeah.
And by processing, you mean like the primary processing, or what kind of processing?
It's different stages. Some will take it to, they'll take lentils to a splitting stage. They'll
You mentioned that the newer markets are opening up, and you cited China. Other than China, which other markets are opening up for you?
We see a huge increase in Vietnam. We see increase in Japan. We see a big increase in Bangladesh, United Emirates. So it's increasing all over the world for us.
So what's the outlook for exports this year to India?
You'd have to talk to the industry to see what they are. I wouldn't know that figure offhand. I would.